Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to the DFS 5-Pack. We're switching things up a little bit this weekend. I'm going to be doing some videos with my man, Brad Christensen. Been friends for a long time. He runs like the admin for a bunch of our private Facebook groups for our customers. How you doing today, Bradley?
I am doing great. So nice to be on today.
I know you have stuck at home with like the 12 kids. Like you said, it's just nice to talk sports with an adult.
Yes, I talking to Ryan yesterday. I'm like, man, I just want to talk sports. It's been a long time. So
I completely understand that, guys. We're here today to break down the overlay tournament with you guys. Before we get into that, though, I want to reiterate that we have an NFL package up for sale on the DFS 5-Pack website that's only $80. With football being mostly what we have right now from a DFS perspective, the content provided to you, both publicly but also more specifically for our customers, is going to be on a level that you've never seen before from the DFS 5-Pack. We've never been in a situation where we've been able to only focus on football. There is going to be daily members only videos. I'm going to be on here constantly all day, every day, talking overlay, talking DraftKings, you name it. So if you want to get bang for your buck, go buy the $80 NFL package. It's your best value for your dollar up on the website right now. I'm going to be more available for questions than I've probably been in years right now, for at least for the rest of the football season. Let's go make some money together. We're going to be playing big. We're going to be going after it. Let's go do this thing.
I'm psyched. Let's do it.
All right, so let's mosey on over to the tournament. I'm going to be in this $22 tournament this weekend, no doubt about it. And let's just jump right in, give our thoughts on each of these plays, and we'll kind of go from there. So let's start at the top. We got Lamar Jackson at Philly versus Deshaun Watson at Tennessee. This is a tough matchup right here. I mean, it would have felt easy at the start of the year, like you'd want to go with Jackson, but Jackson, just quite frankly, he hasn't been the same guy as last year from a DFS perspective. So I'm not lining up to pick this one. It would be at the bottom of my confidence rankings, but honestly, I'm leaning Deshaun Watson right now.
I was going to say I'm leaning Watson too, but like you said, it wouldn't be at the top of my list. It would be down at the bottom. But if I had to pick, it would be Watson.
Yeah, this will be near the bottom of my list. I will try not to pick this one because I don't want to pick against Lamar. Lamar was the best fantasy quarterback all year last year. And even though it hasn't started out great for him this season, we all know that, like, 2 rushing touchdowns is not a crazy thing.
Yeah, and he's so fast, and he can get around the corner or right up the middle, and you never know. I mean, if he busts 2, then you're open for Watson to throw like 5 touchdowns.
All right, next up. So you guys all know, Packer fan right here, Aaron Rodgers is my boy, coming off of the bye, getting Devontae Adams back, versus Cam Newton, who is now one of your guys, since you're both a Brady and a Patriots fan, I'm assuming.
Yes, I am, but I got to be a Cam fan now since he's on my team.
This is a tough one. I like Cam this week. Those rushing touchdowns are hard to mess with. I'm going to roll with Rodgers. I think I will end up having it in my top 12. It will be the bottom of my confidence rankings, but I'm going to go with Rodgers. There's a reason he's $1,000 more expensive on DK. He's been nothing short of sensational all year. He's getting weapons back. He's going to have to probably throw against Tampa Bay. Now, this all gets nixed if Cam runs in 2 touchdowns, but I'm going to bet against it, and I'm going to go with Aaron Rodgers.
I would go with Rodgers on this one, too. I'm loving what Patriots are doing with Cam right now, especially the goal line, but there's no guarantees they get on the goal line, and if they both just throw touchdowns, Rodgers is going to throw more.
I'm with you on that one. Next up, speaking of Tom Brady, game of the week. I'm a Packer fan, so you guys know I'm excited about this, but I feel this is a great football game for everybody. Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers taking on the Green Bay Packers, matched up against Ben Roethlisberger and the Cleveland Browns in this one. So if you were asking me for a pure floor, like if I needed 16, say, DK points or FanDuel points or whatever you're talking about tomorrow, or somebody was going to take my dogs and throw them in an incinerator, I would go with Ben Roethlisberger. However, I like the ceiling of Tom Brady. We get Kenny Clark back tomorrow, which means that our run defense should be substantially better. I also love how Green Bay starts games, meaning I think Tampa Bay is going to have to throw. So I'm going to take Brady. I think his ceiling is a little bit higher, but on pure floor, I prefer Ben.
Yeah, I think I would, as much of a Tom Brady lover as I am, I think I might take Ben in this situation because I don't trust Cleveland's defense, and I think Ben can have a better day.
I'm more worried in this situation that Pittsburgh gets up 2 touchdowns, and maybe they score a defensive touchdown. and they just don't need to throw a lot in the second half. I like Roethlisberger on floor, and I get your pick, but that's the only reason I'm leaning on Tom Terrific.
Yeah, I totally get it.
All right. Next up, Matt Ryan versus Ryan Fitzpatrick. So I like this one right here because would you agree with me? I think the masses are going to roll heavy on Fitzpatrick.
I think they are too, but I think the Atlanta-Minnesota game is going to have more points hands down.
And guess who gets Julio Jones back?
Matt Ryan.
Yeah, not cleared today. He was cleared yesterday, which gives me a lot of cause for pause on how healthy he is. He's a guy that I feel like I didn't think he was going to play this week, but clearly I was dead wrong on that one. So I think the masses go Fitzpatrick, who might also have some wind issues down in this game, may not need to throw in the second half. I think I'm going to go Matt Ryan here, actually. And if I get this one right, I think it's a good opportunity to go up one pick on the public because Matt Ryan has been terrible the last couple of weeks, but I think that's a byproduct of Julio being out.
Yeah, I'm on Ryan on this one for sure.
Awesome. Glad. I'm good to see we're on the same wavelength on that one. Next up, Matt Stafford versus Gardner Minshew. If DJ Chark is out, I go Stafford easy. If Chark is in and healthy, this becomes a much tougher play, but I think I'll stick with Stafford no matter what.
Yeah, I'm definitely on Stafford without Chark. Chark plays, I think I still take Stafford. I don't know, maybe it's just I trust him more. You know, he's just been around a lot longer.
There's a trust factor. There's a feel-good factor when it comes to making plays on DFS and fantasy sports that I'm with you. Minshew's been better this year. Now, albeit Stafford has not had all easy matchups by any stretch. He was missing Golladay for a couple of games, which is clearly his best target by a big margin. So I'm taking Stafford here, but if Chark's out, it becomes a much higher confidence-ranked one.
I agree.
All right, Ryan Tannehill versus Kirk Cousins. So I think the whole industry is all over Madison for good reasons. We've discussed Kirk Cousins and GPPs as kind of an intriguing pivot. But when it comes down to this one, heads up, I want to start putting some respect on Tennessee's name, and specifically Ryan Tannehill. Dude, I didn't realize just how good Tennessee had been since Tannehill took over the starting quarterback position.
Yeah, Tannehill has been super impressive since taking over. And a lot of people always thought it was just Derrick Henry last year, but Tannehill had a lot to do with their success last year. I'm with you. Kirk Cousins, great on DK for a GPP pivot, but I think in this heads up, I would take Tannehill.
This one's a tougher one for me. I'm probably not going to pick it because I think there's really good arguments for both guys. Like if you guys wanted to roll like a Skip Bayless, Shannon Sharp debate on this one, and we had to like assign sides like pre-show, like you could give me either side, and I could come up with really good bullet points to why I would specifically pick that guy. So I think I'm going to roll Cousins with the Atlanta factor, but like I can make great points for Tannehill because there are great points for Tannehill. It doesn't take a lot of ingenuity there. Yeah,
I agree. And if I were picking two, like I think I'm with you that this may fall by the wayside, so I don't have to make it my 12, but
yeah, it's a tough one. All right. Baker Mayfield at Pittsburgh, Carson Wentz at Baltimore. The more I think about it, the more I'm digging on Pittsburgh in this game. And that's coming from somebody who's been high on Cleveland the last couple of weeks. I think it's a bad spot for Cleveland. I'm going to go Carson Wentz, and I'm a kind of a Carson Wentz hater.
Yeah, I think it's a bad spot for both guys. But if I had to choose one, I would probably go Wentz as well. Just for the simple fact that I think you can throw just a little bit more on Baltimore's D. And I think Pittsburgh is going to be a sack machine on Baker Mayfield and then hurry him. And he's going to make mistakes and throw a couple picks.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. Baker falls really into that mold of like Ryan Tannehill, Lamar Jackson, guys that in close games or when they're ahead, I really like what they offer. And Baker Mayfield has some arm talent. I'm not trying to say that he doesn't. I don't like him in a situation where I think he's playing from behind. OBJ's playing, but I don't think he's 100%. No Nick Chubb. I don't like the spot for Mayfield. So Wentz by an eyelash.
Yep.
All right, Bridgewater versus Daniel Jones. Look, it's not a good matchup for Bridgewater, but he's just much better than Daniel Jones. So give me Bridgewater.
Yeah, that's an easy one.
All right, Nick Foles at Carolina or Phillip Rivers. Look, man, Cincinnati's terrible, but so is Phillip Rivers. I'm going to go with Nick Foles.
Yeah, and Foles has done a pretty good job the last couple of weeks of, dink and dunking down the field. And if Rivers, we saw what he did against the Browns last week, threw a couple picks, I go Foles.
All right, Derrick Henry versus Alexander Madison. So I did a DK or a overlay video yesterday, and I told people that I wanted to pound Madison at plus 1.5. It's now down to -2. I don't know if I had any influence over that or if I was just one guy picking that one out for the reason that it seemed relatively obvious. I like Madison better than Henry straight up. I said it yesterday. I still would almost take Madison at -2. I won't be betting it like I was before. I already threw down a couple of 20 spots on it, so I feel okay right there. But give me Madison involved in the passing game. And maybe I'm being prisoner of the moment from Tuesday night, but it definitely looked like Tennessee's considering playing the long game. And like maybe we can't give Derrick Henry 40 touches every week.
Yeah, I agree, and I'm with you on Alexander Madison. And I also got him at plus 1.5, so I'm happy about that.
Yeah, Derrick Henry's really good. You guys know I'm a big fan. Madison's also really good. Like I broke down all the backs in the NFL real quickly yesterday and who I think's better than Madison. I think Madison's a starting running back on at least half the NFL teams.
I wouldn't disagree. I mean, Minnesota's got a pretty good backup in him, that's for sure.
Yeah. All right, man. Kareem Hunt or Aaron Jones. Pittsburgh's defense is really good. Tampa Bay's is really good against the run. I'm going to go with Aaron Jones, just a bigger nose for the end zone.
I'm going with Aaron Jones, too. Just some things I've seen. And with, can't remember his name, the defender, lineman being out for Tampa Bay, I think. Aaron Jones. Yep. I think Aaron Jones has some more room to roam.
All right. Next up, James Robinson in one of the DFS games of the week versus Jonathan Taylor. I guess I wasn't really a believer in Jonathan Taylor coming out of college, and it wasn't anything to do with him. It was just I've seen really good Wisconsin running backs fail at the NFL level, i.e. Ron Dane, Monty Ball example. And Jonathan Taylor hasn't done anything to change my mind this year. Robinson, on the other hand, undrafted free agent, looks really, really good. Give me Robinson right here.
I'm with you, Robinson.
I do want to reiterate, though, this is a half-point PBR website. Just if you're making decisions that way, just keep that in the back of your mind. All right. Joe Mixon, Miles Sanders. I like Sanders as a running back better than Mixon, but Mixon's volume is off the hook. Give me Mixon.
Yeah, and Mixon's in a little bit better of a spot than I feel Miles Sanders is as well.
Yeah, I feel like Baltimore defense is better than it's played a lot to start the year, and I think Indy's got some injuries they're dealing with, and I think they're fraudulent.
Yep, I agree.
I think Cincy could win this game.
I wouldn't be surprised if it happened. Let's put it that way.
All right. Next up, David Montgomery versus Todd Gurley. So last week I was big on Gurley because it was against Carolina, which is kind of the reason I'm big on Montgomery right now. So give me Monty, but I don't love it. I like Gurley less with Julio back, but Gurley is a guy that they could utilize in the 5 a little bit too much. So I don't love it, but I'm going to go Montgomery.
Yeah, that's a tough one for me. Part of me is prisoner of the moment, wants to go with Gurley, but I think you're right with Julio Jones being back that like his role comes down just a little bit because when they got Julio, they love to chuck the ball around more than they like to run. So, man, I would probably go with David Montgomery.
All right. I'm going to let you go first on this one. Conor or David Johnson?
James Conor.
Agreed, wholeheartedly. I've been burnt by DJ twice this year, and he's not, Deshaun Watson's really good. Fuller's good. I'm not a David Johnson guy this week. Give me James Conor.
Well, and I think James Conor is more involved in all game scripts where David Johnson can come out for Duke Johnson if they're passing.
Absolutely. All right. Myles Gaskin versus Antonio Gibson. I think this is a good question. I definitely think Gaskin is going to get the lion's share of the votes right here. Excuse me. So I'm going to pick Gaskin as well, but I love the idea of pivoting to Gibson. It's just one of those picks where you could probably be different than the masses. I won and placed in one of these contests 2 weeks ago, and it was one pick that I made without even trying to do it, where all the masses went the other way and I went this way, and it got me up into the money like with one pick like that.
Yeah, you know what? I almost like Gibson here too. Just I feel like I don't think the Giants' defense is as good. It's not that Washington's offense is that great, but I just think that Gibson could get his against the Giants.
I think so. I'm still going Gaskin. I think there's real merit in going Gibson.
Right.
Okay. It's a good one. Devontae Adams and my Green Bay Packers against Adam Thielen and my arch nemesis Minnesota Vikings. Great matchup for Adam Thielen. Devontae Adams is relatively matchup proof. Probably going to need to chuck the ball a little bit for Green Bay. It's a half-point PPR website, just to reiterate. Not that that necessarily affects both of these guys who could be target monsters. I'm going to go Devontae, but I don't know if that's head or heart.
Yeah, Geez, that's a tough one. I was staring at that one while we looked at a couple of the other ones, and I was like, I don't even know where to go on that one. I don't think I would pick this one like in my 12, but if I had to pick one, man, I think I'm gonna go Thielen for the simple fact that I like Cousins looks for him when they get close to the red zone. Not
Does
that
that make you second guess things on DK then though? Like think maybe you want to play Thielen over Devontae Adams.
On DK in a GPP, sure, but in cash game, I may still go Adams for the simple fact that you don't need him to be like a 30 or 40 point monster.
You just trust his floor, whereas you can see how like Madison could just take this game over.
Right, exactly.
Okay, I gotcha. I'm gonna go Adams, but I don't feel great about it because I also really like Adam Thielen for all the obvious reasons. So this is an interesting question because, like, if you look at like their DK prices between Kenny Golladay and Calvin Ridley, like they're massively different. And I think Golladay is supreme chalk on DK, and I love him for all the obvious reasons. But like Calvin Ridley could blow up this weekend.
Julio's back, and when Julio's been in, he's been the guy reaping the rewards because everyone's moving coverage over to Julio, and he's the one that's getting the target share.
I think I'm gonna go Ridley.
You know what? I think I would too, even though I know Golladay is going to be huge like in other places, but I think this is the one where you could be different and get that point.
Yeah, although I don't know if people, because Calvin Ridley's been phenomenal in a lot of games this season outside of the game against Green Bay. And I know Golladay, he's so much cheaper on DK that it makes sense to go right there. But right here on a 1-versus-1 matchup like this, I'm going to go Ridley, but it's a tough one because I love Golladay this week.
Yeah, it's definitely a tough one, but I'm with you. I think I would take Ridley here.
All right, next up, Allen Robinson versus Robbie Anderson. I'm a fan of both of these young men. Are we going to go with AR or RA is the question. I'm going to go with Allen Robinson, who is just a target monster.
That's where I was leaning to. Just a simple fact that it's harder to throw on the Bears.
True. All right, I'm going to let you go first on this one. Scary Terry McLaurin or Devontae Parker?
I'm leaning towards Devontae Parker because, one, they're playing the Jets, and we don't know who the starting quarterback's going to be yet for Washington. I mean, is it Good Kyle point. Allen or is it Alex Smith? And, how much rapport does Terry McLaurin have with either one of them? So I trust Devontae Parker with Fitzmagic, and I'm going Parker.
It's a good point. You may have actually just taught me into Parker. My problem with Parker is, one, it might be windy down there, so I would double check back on the weather on that one.
Right.
Two, how much do they need to throw against the New York Jets? And yes, they're going to need to score some touchdowns at first, but like I kind of think Washington and New York is a close game that Washington wins. I'm going to reserve judgment on this one. I am going to wait to find out who the quarterback is. I know we only glanced at it briefly earlier.
Yeah.
I feel like I should know that, but I haven't heard for sure one way or the other.
I haven't either, and I've looked, and it's almost like they haven't announced, which is strange.
Gotcha. All right, man. Will Fuller versus Mike Evans. So we talked this one out earlier. I was on Will Fuller for sure, but then kind of thinking about it, like, are they going to put Kevin King on Mike Evans because they think he matches up better size-wise? Well, he does, but like if it was me, I would just leave Alexander on Evans because I just think he's better. So that gave me a little bit more of a situation where I think this one's tight. So I'm going to stick with Fuller, but I don't like it as much as I did yesterday.
I like Fuller for the simple fact is like what you just said, but also Evans isn't still 100%.
Yeah.
And Fuller and all, as football goes is like 100%, and Watson likes throwing to him. So.
Okay. I'll stick with Fuller as well. I lost a little bit of my confidence on this one. And I think a big part of this, why I like Fuller better is like Brady's got all of his guys back. Like they're healthy, it seems
right.
like. That's a full arsenal of weapons out there for Tampa Bay, so he doesn't have to tunnel vision Mike Evans anymore.
Yep.
All right, A.J. Brown versus Odell. Give me A.J. Brown. Easy peasy.
Oh, it's totally easy.
Justin Jefferson versus D.J. Moore. I'm going to go with Jefferson. Again, if the roles were reversed, I would go D.J. Moore over Jefferson in a heartbeat, but they're not. Jefferson gets Atlanta, and D.J. Moore gets Chicago, which is like literally polar opposites.
I agree. Jefferson all the way. I mean, it's like I said before, it's harder to throw on Chicago, so I'll take Jefferson against Atlanta.
All right, DJ Chark, who we don't know is in Jamison Crowder. I'm actually going to go Crowder no matter what. I think he's quietly under the radar having an excellent season. And we were joking about this earlier. The New York Jets offense is so bad that Jamison Crowder is their best position player by a distant margin.
Yeah, and you know what? But Crowder's had 10-plus targets in all three of the games he's played. So, I mean, that's something to look at. And like you said, we don't even know if Shark is playing. So,
yeah, and even if he is playing, is he 100% healthy? It's the middle of the day on Saturday, and he hasn't been cleared yet.
exactly. So, even if he does play, I'll take Crowder.
Yeah. Okay. Gasicki against the Jets or Hawkinson against Jacksonville. These guys are both really erratic, so I'll just go with the guy that I think will be throwing more, so I'll go with Hawkinson.
I agree with that. Just looking at it and thinking that if game script, Miami's probably going to get up, I would go with Hawkinson.
All right. Gronk versus Graham, former Patriot, who, again, I love Rob Gronkowski, against Jimmy Graham, former Packer. These two guys also used to be like cream of the crop, and now they're a couple of old washed-up fellows who can't run anymore. I'm going to go with Graham because he's a red zone focal point, and the same thing we brought up before, like Brady's got weapons all over the place.
He does, and he also loves Cameron Brate, and he seems to like Brate more than Gronkowski, so I will go with Jimmy Graham.
Man, if you want to go back 6 years ago, these guys were the guys at tight end, right? Like two first and second round picks, and now they both look like they're running with a piano on their back.
I know, like I saw parts of the last Buccaneers game and every time I saw Gronk running, I was like, I think I can run faster than him right now.
I'd love to foot race him. I'm sure I'm lose, but like it would be fun to say I raced Rob Gronkowski, who seems like to be one of the coolest dudes in the world.
Right.
Let's just peek over at the matchup shop real quickly and see if there's anything that tickles our fancy from an NFL perspective.
All right.
Carson Wentz +1 versus Joe Burrow. I would want to find out a little bit more about the availability of some of the Indianapolis guys before I made this pull, but I think I would be leaning on Joe Burrow, actually.
I like Burrow. He's been nothing but solid for Cincinnati as a rookie, so I think in this situation I could go with Burrow.
All right. Rivers versus Fitzpatrick. Jesus Christ. 7 points. I'd still go Fitzpatrick. I have no confidence in Phillip Rivers.
I have none either in Rivers, and that's why I picked the Browns defense last week, and they did me a solid. So,
all right. So earlier in this week, when I thought Julio was out, I actually made a video saying how much I like Gardner Minshew. That as soon as I found out Julio was out, I was going to start betting on Minshew. You want to talk about things switching up? Now Chark might not play, but Julio Jones is in. I like Matt Ryan +3.
Yeah, I think I actually threw one down on Matt Ryan for +3. So.
I'll throw 20 on that bad boy right now. Oh, not multi. Single Matt Ryan. Throw a 20 spot on that bad boy right there. +3 points. Prisoner of the moment. Matt Ryan comes and goes with Julio.
He does.
All right. Bridgewater versus Mayfield. I don't really want that one.
No, I would pass.
Hunt +2.5 versus Aaron Jones. I'd probably bet on Aaron Jones, but I don't really want to pick this one.
And I don't want to pick it either. And I think just yesterday that was even. It was zero. So that moved.
I think you're right. Montgomery versus Gurley. Gurley +2. Probably don't want to pick this one.
No, I wouldn't pick that one either.
Not saying that you shouldn't pick it, because you even talked about it. Like running, you can get like real money off this website if you can hit on like a nice like 7 or 8 person parlay.
Yeah.
If you have great feelings about it, put in a few bucks and bet big on it. It could be a lot of fun.
It's what I like doing. You never know.
All right. How about Conor against David Johnson? Like this was a question in the tournament, and I liked Conor straight up. I think I still like Conor even at a -2.5, which tells me how much I like that one.
Yeah, I think I would take Connor's at 2.5.
I mean, if you just look at like the DK price comparison, think about how much more expensive James Conner is.
Yeah, exactly.
So I do think I'm going to include this one in a parlay that I do tomorrow.
Nice.
All right, Myles Gaskin versus Gibson. We talked about that one a lot on the tournament. Probably I would take Gibson +2.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a close one. I think game script we're seeing is Miami getting up and then just leaning on the run. But, I mean, Gibson seems to be doing a lot for Washington. I would be on that +2 on Gibson for sure.
All right, Devonta Adams versus Thielen. We talked that one over under the tournaments for a long one at a +0.5 on Thielen. That's negligible. Do what you want right there. There's good arguments for both guys. Robinson versus Anderson, we also talked that one through pretty thoroughly. A lot of these I'm not going to spend a lot of time on because we've talked about them on the tournament. Same thing goes with Terry versus Devontae. Fuller versus Evans is even. So I am going to lay a few bucks on Fuller later.
Yeah, I can't argue with that one.
All right, we talked over Brown and Beckham. At a plus 1.5, I still don't like Odell. I would still take A.J. Brown.
So would I.
Jefferson versus Moore, -2 on Jefferson. I would probably still go with Jefferson.
I agree.
All right, Gasicki versus Hawkinson. Hawkinson's a +1. I liked Hawkinson originally in this one. I think they have to throw more. Give me T.J. Hawkinson.
I like that you're getting a point with Hawkinson. Yeah, for sure.
All right, Rob Gronkowski versus Graham. I might put a little money on Graham. He catches touchdowns. Ben versus Stafford. Ben +1.5. That's a good question.
Man. I don't know what I would do here. I probably wouldn't bet on it just because I don't know what to do.
I don't think I will go aggressively betting on this one-on-one, but I think I might take Ben +1.5 in a parlay. Lower dollar parlay, probably. Cousins
Definitely.
+4.5 on Lamar Jackson. God, that seems like a low number of points to spot Cousins, but I kind of like Cousins +4.5. I got a feeling he might go off tomorrow.
I know, and I got that feeling too, and I would take Cousins with the +4.5. Just because I just feel like against Atlanta, like this is, if he's going to break out, this is his game to do it.
Agreed. Problem is Lamar with those rushing touchdowns, though. It's so
True.
hard to bet against him. All right. Give me Flacco +4 on Daniel Jones.
I actually think I bet that one yesterday. It was +4, and I think I took Flacco.
I think that's a good one to bet on right here. I like this one. I think you guys should put some money on Flacco +4. He might be better than Daniel Jones right now. I know Flacco's not great, but either is Daniel Jones.
That is true.
All right. We did the video on Madison over Henry yesterday. I still like Madison, only I'm not as aggressively going to bet somebody at -2 that we each got at +1.5 yesterday.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Robinson versus Taylor. I still prefer Robinson. Don't like giving Taylor points, but I still think I would take Robinson.
I'd go with Robinson.
All right. How about Tom Brady +6.5 versus Kyler Murray? The problem is Murray plays Dallas.
And they play on Monday night.
Yeah. I'm going to hope. What I want to do right here is I want to watch the line on this one. And if it gets a little smaller, like if people are desperate for action tomorrow and take Tom Brady, and you can bet this down to like a 5.5, I'm going to keep my eyes peeled on Murray.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea. I didn't bet it at all yet for the simple fact of what it is. But, yeah, I'm with you. I'll watch it.
All right. Jared Goff versus Aaron Rodgers. Give me Aaron Rodgers -4. I think he's at least 4 points better.
Yeah, I would take Rodgers.
All right. And then Joe Mixon against Miles Sanders.
Mixon.
I think I like Mixon here. I'm going to start running some parlays when we're done with this video, and I think I'm going to be including Mixon in a couple of them, and I'll probably put some money on him straight up.
Yeah, I would do that too. I think I need to do that.
Awesome, guys. Well, hey, don't forget to go grab yourself an NFL-only package over at the DFS 5-pack. The link is below. We are going to be pounding out the NFL content the next couple of months. It's going to be a lot of fun. Let's go win some money, and I want to thank my guest star, Brad Christensen, for coming on today and talking some overlay with me.
Thanks for having me, buddy. Go get it, guys.